Ephesians chapter 4. And this chapter is really interesting in the book of Ephesians because chapters 1 through 3 are about the truths of our faith and the foundations and why we believe what we believe. But chapter 4 marks a transition, and the rest of the book is more practical and talks about the applications and how we put those truths into practice in our everyday life. So I encourage you to read all of this chapter because there's a ton to be pulled out of it, and more that I could talk about right now. But really spend some time in it because I know I got a lot from it, and I think that you'll be able to as well. So I'm just going to kind of focus on some of the verses that reached out and spoke to me. So starting in verse 1. I therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. The first thing that reached out to me in this verse is that in the beginning, Paul describes himself as a prisoner for the Lord. I think we can sometimes, take being a follower of Christ pretty lighthearted, but this shows that Paul is giving up everything to spread the gospel and to spread this hope that he has. And he has called himself a prisoner, which is not a lighthearted term. So I encourage you to keep that in mind as we try to spread the gospel. And the second thing is that these verses just sound simple, walk with each other in love. It makes it sounds easy, but it's not as easy to put in practice in our everyday life. So I encourage you to find ways right now to love the people around you and to be kind and to maintain unity, because it's important that the church maintains unity and we're able to spread the hope that we have. Now we're going to skip down to verse 14. So that we may no longer be children, tossed to and fro by the waves and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by human cunning, by craftiness and deceitful schemes. Rather, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into Him who is the head, into Christ, from whom the whole body, joined and held together by every joint with which it is equipped, when each part is working properly, makes the body grow up so that it builds itself up in love. I think these verses are so important right now at this point in history because we are constantly surrounded by information, and there are, the waves of the world of human cunning and craftiness and deceitful schemes are around us at all times. And then you open up Instagram and you're being spoken to, and it's overwhelming. So the most important thing is, first of all, to know what you believe and be confident in your faith, and that's chapters 1 through 3 are really important for that. But it's also important to be surrounded by people who are confident in their faith and who are able to really speak truth into your life and help you when you feel like the world and the waves are knocking you over, to not fall down. And that's what Jordan talks about all the time. He says faith forms best with friends, and that's what these verses are talking about. Verse 16 at the end says, when each part is working properly. And that's so important because when the body of Christ is unified and when everybody is working towards a common goal, we'll see transformation happen. I think that's really possible right now. So I just encourage you to, first of all, read the last half of the chapter because it's about living a transformed life. But I also encourage you to reach out to the people around you and, make sure everyone is still, following Christ in their path, because we have a unique opportunity. The world is looking for hope. And, right now we're in the middle of Easter season, and the world is actively looking for hope and joy, and we have that. And when we're unified and when we are secure in our faith and not being tossed by the waves, we are able to share that hope with the world. So I encourage you to reach out to people around you, maintain unity, and then go out and share the hope that we have.